Welcome to Taboo, Texarkana, the podcast where we dive deep into the untold stories, spiritual journeys, and topics people don't usually talk about. I'm Colton Foltz, your host, inviting you to join me as we sit down with incredible individuals from Texarkana and beyond. Together, we'll explore personal growth, challenge societal norms, and embrace the uncomfortable truths that change our lives. This is a place for authenticity, transformation, and fearless conversation. So whether you're here to reflect, to learn, or to be inspired, you're in the right place. Hunter Clark, thank you so much for joining us today.
Dude, thanks for having me, brother.
Yeah,
It's good
man.
to be here, man.
Yeah, glad to have you here. Thanks for taking your day off work to spend some time with us and play some tunes.
Happy to do so, man.
Yeah. So I know you were on the Tune In Texarkana podcast.
Yeah.
Have you ever made an appearance on another podcast?
No, dude, that was my first and last up till now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I loved Tune In Texarkana. I actually reached out to the Gazette and was like, y'all still doing this? You thinking about revamping it? Like, it was just such a good idea.
Yeah.
And Erin was an awesome host. She just did a phenomenal job. I've listened to that podcast a few times, and I've went back several times just to listen to your music.
Right on, man.
So, highly recommend anybody to look it up on Spotify. Tune In Texarkana.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah. So, how long have you been playing guitar?
Let's see. Going on a little over 20 years, right around 20 years now.
Dang.
I was probably junior high school. I think it was sixth grade is when I started.
Yeah. So, what inspired you to pick up the guitar?
Man, I always loved music. Always loved just making sounds and things like that. Uh, and then it was about sixth grade. We found a church on the north side of Houston. It was Grace Lutheran, and everyone that was in our youth group was musically inclined. And our youth leader, she was actually part of a Christian rock band that like toured
Cool.
nationally and stuff like that. Like they went
Wow.
on Warped Tour too and stuff like that. I mean, so like we had a pretty good footing as far as like a culture for music there.
Yeah.
So that definitely got my foot in the door that way.
That's amazing. They played at Warped Tour?
Yeah. Yeah, we got to go like actually it's one of those things I always regretted. I got offered to go uh work their merch tent for 2 weeks like and go on
Yeah.
Warped Tour with them and I wasn't able to. I was working at the time. I was
Man.
like in between my junior and senior year in high school and it was one of those things is like you either lose your job
Yeah.
or go on tour and I was just like I feel kind of responsible. I don't know.
Yeah.
One of those things I always like, man, you were a kid, you should have just went.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty cool. It was their band was Ray, RAE. It was Ray Rocks.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was the time to go to Warped Tour. Like I've
Yeah.
been to like 4, but I remember the first one I went to was 2008, and then maybe or 2012, 2008, and then 2016.
I think this one was 2009.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that would have been awesome.
Yeah.
So, did somebody buy you your first guitar, or
Yeah.
you were just playing the guitar at
well,
the
actually,
church?
My father, he'd wanted to get into guitar and he'd always like classical style guitar and finger picking and stuff like that. And he had a guitar, but he never really did too much with it. It just he diddle on it a little bit, got some books for it and stuff like that. So I ended up taking it and kind of diddling on it myself, and got to the point where eventually I just kind of asked for one myself, and
Yeah.
he kind of was fully in support of like
Mhm.
helping me become a musician as far as like getting an instrument and stuff like that.
Yeah. So, you were pretty much self-taught. You used the books,
Yeah, well, yeah,
picked up some chords.
self-taught, but really just friends, man.
Yeah.
Like I had a couple different friends that took private lessons and stuff like that. So like they'd go have their lessons and then I'd go hang out and
Yeah.
learn what they learned. Or just figure out songs that I liked and just try to play along to that. Just different things. So like a mix of self-taught, but also just like having so many people around me that were also into music and still learning themselves.
Yeah.
So like we all kind of got to learn together.
Yeah, that's a perfect community of people you can learn and grow
Yeah.
with. So do you play any other instruments?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I've played a ton of instruments. Guitar is definitely my bread and butter.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, if it has strings, I can make a pretty good sound out of it. And beyond that, like I started off on trumpet in sixth grade.
In the
And
band at
yeah,
school or
band at
something?
school. I played there for like 2 or 3 years and then just decided I didn't much care for it, but guitar stuck around for me. So that gave me like a basic knowledge into music as well,
Yeah.
as far as like reading music and things like that. Uh, but yeah, that anything, I play piano pretty all right. Uh, Probably have like a little over 2 dozen different instruments at home, just random stuff. I've always been in the mentality like if it makes the sound and it's affordable, like if I find something at a garage sale, even
Yeah.
if I don't know how to play it, I'll grab it and I'm just like I'll diddle on this and
Yeah.
just trying to figure something out.
So what's the most unique or strange instrument that you have at the house?
Uh, Probably like a melodica.
What is that?
It's it's like a little keyboard, but it works off of reeds. So like you have to blow air and pass it. It
Okay.
has like a hose that comes down to it. It's a little mini keyboard,
Yeah.
and each chord or each key on the little piano top activates a reed. And so it's kind of like this weird
Yeah.
looking thing. It kind of sounds like a saxophone, but not quite. It's like it almost sounds like a toy, but not quite. It's a little bit cleaner sound than that. Other than that, it's like other ones that are just weird to me though, that are I guess kind of normal. Is like I found a flute somewhere once,
Yeah.
and I'm just like it was just so strange to me because I never played woodwind instruments or anything like that. It was always just like brass or
Is it like a
stringed
classical
instruments.
flute
Yeah,
that you play to the
yeah,
side
just like
or
a like one you'd see like in a
yeah,
school
in a
marching
marching
band.
band?
Yeah,
Yeah. So did you stay in the band through junior high, high school, or did you
no,
just do the first year or
no,
two?
I did the first couple years, and by the time I was in high school, I was more worried about sports and things like
Yeah. What
that.
sports did you play?
Dude, I played a little bit
All
of
of them?
everything. Swim team was my biggest one.
What?
Yeah, dude, I swam for years.
That's cool.
I loved it. I loved swim team. I did that for like 6 years. Did football for like 5 years, something like that. Uh, and then when I was a little kid, I played like basketball and soccer,
Dang. Yeah,
just
you
a
just
little bit
you
of
name it.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when it comes to guitar, what difficulties did you have learning the guitar? Like, I know for me, it's hard to strum and sing at the same time without like strumming with each for
Yeah.
each lyric that comes out. I know I just have a hard time doing that. And the have you ever played electric guitar? Or has it just always been more acoustic?
Man, I have electric guitars, and something about playing acoustic guitar it feels more alive to me.
Yeah.
Like just feeling the reverberation.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to describe it this way, but like playing electric guitar, it just kind of feels dead, like a dead piece of
Mm-hmm.
wood.
Yeah.
Like in a way, this feels alive. Like I can feel it shaking and reverberating against me,
Yeah.
and it feels a little bit closer to home.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of a strange thing. So I've always preferred acoustic guitars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
My electric guitar is just collecting dust, man. The poor thing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
So what difficulties did you have like learning? What were some learning curves for you,
Dude,
if any?
the hardest things were like sticking with it. Them first 4 years, it was like off and on.
Yeah.
I was like an off and on guitarist. And then like it wasn't until late in high school and a little bit after high school that I started like playing a little more regular and stuff like that. But there's been periods all throughout my life where like even now like I'll set it down for a couple months and
Hmm.
just not even look at it, not even think about it. Just focus on other things. Just make sure it's not just the one thing that defines my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, do you want to play a tune for us?
Yeah, I'm
Which
down, man.
What do you want to play first?
Uh, this first one, it's called Salty. It's kind of, I guess it's about like isolation, depression, but also like a little glimmer of hope. Kind of just like when you're in a dark place and you kind of push everyone away, and you don't really want their help because you just know it's not going to help. And to me, it's like I feel bad with people trying to help me, and I know it's not going to do anything. I just kind of need time to myself to work through my stuff. So this kind of like highlights that.
I can relate.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I'm upset, I just, like you said, sometimes nothing. I just need that space.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm excited.
Get away from me. I don't want your kindness. I just had a bad day. Can't have you wasting words when I won't appreciate them. That'll only make me feel worse. Don't wanna make real all these things that I feel. I have myself cheaper than dirt. Not okay, but I will be. I just hate everything right now. I'm not okay, but I will be. I just hate everything right now. Just hate everything right now. Depression's just like beating a dead horse with a stick. I am unreasonably sick. You can poke the bear, but don't kick my dog. For my friends, I am strong. Why can't I fight for myself? I'm not okay, but I will be. I just hate everything right now. I'm not okay, but I will be. I just hate everything right now. Just hate everything right now. And I'm so low down. I got this feeling that I just might drown. And in my sea of sadness, I found madness. I'm salty and it's in my wounds. And in my sea of sadness, I found madness. I'm salty and it's in my wounds. And please don't help me, that'll just drive me crazy. 'Cause tomorrow I'll be okay. Don't wanna be reminded of my yesterday, 'cause tomorrow I'll be okay. Oh, I'm so low down. Oh, I'm salty and it's in my wounds. Oh, I'm so low down. Oh, I'm salty and it's in my wounds. I'm not okay, but I will be. I just hate everything right now. I'm not okay, but I will be. I just hate everything right now, but tomorrow I'll be okay. Yeah, tomorrow I'll be okay. Oh, tomorrow I'll be okay.
That was
Thanks, brother.
awesome, man. Thank you so much for sharing and playing.
Yeah.
So, how long did it take you to write that song? What's your
I-
process like?
Dude, all of them are kind of different. pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, once I like that one can just come from a bad day, man. Just having a bad day. Just kind of looking at the door, sitting on my couch, had all the lights turned off, and I was like, man, today's just a hard day.
Yeah.
I was looking at the door, and I was like, I don't think there's anyone that could walk through that door that would just help me right now.
Yeah.
Not that they wouldn't try,
Absolutely.
but I just don't think it would help. And so I just kind of played off that feeling. And then it was also something that a friend had said to me years ago. She was going through a hard time. And it always just kind of rung in the back of my head. She's like, I'm not okay right now, but I will be.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like that, just always just, it's like, hey, you can recognize that you're not doing all right, but that you know you will be okay. Like there is something on the other side of that feeling.
Yeah.
So, but man, it was pretty quick. Most of it was like in a day, like it just actually in a few hours,
Yeah.
and it was more just picking out words that kind of flow together, that kind of invoke an emotion that I kind of tied to that one little saying and just expanding on that idea.
Yeah.
And then just finding how I could find that relatable and figure out how that also can match how some other people feel.
So, what are some of your ways to maybe decompress? Is playing guitar kind of like your therapy, your escape? How do you deal with those bad days?
Uh, dude,
Just hold on for dear life sometimes. Just
sometimes it
just
feels
breathe
that
and make
way.
it through the day.
Man, I got a couple different ways I like to cope. Playing guitar is definitely a big one for me. Uh, really just going outside. Like I always joke around that like, oh, nature's my medicine. Like something about being outside just
Mhm.
brings an extra calm to me. Uh, and then another one would just like, dude, sometimes just jump in the car and hit some back roads and just drive around.
Yeah.
Like not going anywhere in particular. Uh, that's definitely a big one for me.
Yeah. Do y'all own any chickens or anything like that?
No, we
Okay.
don't. My wife's family, her aunts, they have a bunch of chickens and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So we'll go over there and like help them. Like I've helped them rebuild their pen a couple times, and yeah.
I only say that because I know sometimes when I get frustrated and stressed out, I can go outside and just like being in nature and just watching the birds is just
Yeah.
like they're in no hurry. There's no stress. It's just something about being out in the garden and just like being outside.
Yeah.
We have like half of an acre. We don't have like a bunch of land or anything like that,
Yeah.
but just being outside. I think it's something a lot of us need is to be outside, and
Yeah.
it will help us just naturally ground.
Yeah, my wife and I, we don't really keep a garden.
Yeah.
And that's definitely a nice little outlet there.
Have y'all started prepping for the season?
A little bit. We got everything cleaned out of the spaces that we want to put it
Mm.
in. Definitely trying to hold out a little bit longer before we start planning
Yeah.
anything. And but dude, we did really good last year. Everything turned out pretty good.
What do y'all plant?
We like to try and plant the things that we would normally go buy.
Mm-hmm.
So like corn, tomatoes, squash, had pepper plants. We even planted some pumpkins. Just a couple different random things here and there.
Are y'all doing raised flower beds or like are you planting directly in the ground?
Both.
Both.
Yeah.
Do y'all
both.
have good dirt? Because at our house, it's like 3 or 4 inches of topsoil and then it's just clay.
Yeah.
So we're having to we're doing a lot of raised flower beds this year because we're having to just bring in so much dirt because
Yeah.
the clay is just so bad.
Little spot that I had, I added a little bit of dirt to it. It really wasn't too bad. Added a little bit of fertilizer and just really only did it at the start. When I planted things, I put some fertilizer down. That was it.
That's good.
And then like my raised bed where I put my corn and my squash and stuff like that, I literally just took a baby pool that you'd get from Dollar
Yeah.
General. Took a knife, sliced some slices in the bottom and so it could drain out.
Yeah.
And just turned that into a raised bed, just
Yeah.
like a cheap way to make it work.
We have a kid pool, and it
Yeah.
has like the herbs in it and stuff.
Yeah.
We have some blueberry bushes, muscadines, grapes, and then of course we do tomatoes, zucchini, squash. Um, but we're always trying to keep the chickens out, and everything wants to eat our food, so
Yeah.
it's a struggle.
Oh, dude, that was a
Keep
hard
things
one.
alive.
There was a lot more stuff we planted last year that as soon as it would sprout up, the birds would like swoop down and get my sprouts.
Yeah.
So like not too far past that point, if you came over, you'd just see bird netting all over my little
Yeah.
areas, and I mean it worked. So
Yeah.
the only thing I had to fight after that was like a few pests here and there, but nothing like wild. Like my tomatoes, I ended up having to pull them out of the ground at the beginning of December because they just wouldn't quit.
Yeah.
So
They like that red. They see red or some kind of color, and then they'll go for it.
yeah.
So, what style would you say your music is?
I try not to. But I mean,
I hear you.
Yeah, I try not to, but I realize it kind of falls between a couple different things, kind of like a little bit country, a little bit folk. Try to add a little dash of blues in there. It's definitely like a singer-songwriter indie sort of thing. But I'm actually in the process this year trying to take a break from doing solo stuff and trying to build a band up.
Okay.
So we're going to kind of go back to man versus chorus, but expand it.
Yeah.
Like kind of like how we had at Universal Vibe, where I had a couple extra guys playing with me. That's kind of what I want it to look
Yeah.
like.
I never know what to expect
Yeah.
because it's like, I book you, and then you showed up one year with just Mikey,
Yeah.
and then the first year, I guess you had a couple people with you, and
I think the first year was Victor and Curly,
Yeah,
harmonica, and big
harmonica.
upright bass.
So the Poet of Texarkana, that's kind of like your solo creative outlet. And then
Yeah.
what is man versus chorus?
Man versus chorus actually was the one that started off first, and it was really me and Victor. And eventually it came with my buddy Curly, the guy who plays harmonica, him coming over us, and playing. And but then once Vic moved to Shreveport, I
Okay.
kind of got to the point where I was like, hey man, I still want to play, but I don't want to call it this. So I was like, man, I'm gonna book these shows 100% every time. You're definitely welcome. But like, it's one of those, just like, so I didn't have to depend on anyone else. I knew at the bare minimum, it was me gonna be there with my music, and I could produce something. And then, man, I'm always trying to get people to come play and hang out. To me, it's the more the merrier. And I got a couple people that I like hanging out with. I mean, to me, that's an invaluable thing. It's not just like what you do or what you can do with an instrument, but like if I can get along with you, that's it right there. You're in. So like all the people I play with are people that I'd hang out and have hung out with, as far as just like sit back and have a barbecue or something like that.
So are you in any other bands, or is it just man versus chorus? Or are you trying to create a new outlet?
That's kind of where man versus chorus, we're trying to expand that. So it's like that's kind of the new thing, and like for the last like 2 months, basically since UV, we've been. So was that November?
November.
Yeah, since November, we've been trying to come up with a new band name, and there's nothing that sticks.
Yeah.
At one point in time, we're like, oh, we'll just call it man versus chorus. And I'm like, oh, that could work. But I was like, no, man, let's try to do something different.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that is like stuck.
Yeah.
So it's just like, what if we just call it man versus chorus? If we just expand it from that way. And I was like, that works.
Who's all a part of the new project moving forward? Or
Right now we got Victor on upright bass. Mikey, he's on lap steel, and also like or pedal steel, and then also just playing guitar. And then my buddy Jacob Lambert, he's playing mandolin, and then trying to get my buddy Curly to join us too, which I know he's always down to play, and he plays harmonica. So I guess and then me playing guitar and singing, and then Vic, he'll also sing.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's 5 right there, and who knows? got a couple other ideas, but nothing that's as firm as those guys.
Yeah.
So
I remember when you played inside the Alley Cats coffee bar,
yeah,
and it was you and Curly. Is that the guy with the harmonica?
yeah.
And that was one of my favorite sets. And then everyone that you've played at Universal Vibe has been amazing. I
Thanks,
teared
man.
up the first year when you played the Universal Vibe song. I was like, it's so special. Look, this is all happening. It's so crazy.
Well, I got another one for you today, bro.
Yeah, I'm excited. So let's go ahead and jump into another song.
Yeah, I'm down.
Sticking away. What's next?
This next one is called Growing Pains. It's I wrote it after I used to host a bunch of open mics at Hopkins Ice House, and Hopkins is 100% everyone welcome, family friendly environment, whatever. And I was noticing a lot of the music I've been playing. It was like I was getting a lot of gigs and bars and stuff like that. So that's kind of what I was writing for, was those type audiences. So I noticed there was like a family sitting in front of me, and I was just like, I was going as far as changing the words to my songs on the fly.
Oh my gosh.
Like just to kind of be
Make
a
it
little more
appropriate for the
welcoming.
moment.
Well, and making things more relatable, more welcoming. But yeah, appropriate for the moment.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not too hard to change a couple things here and there to change the flow of a song. But after that point, I was like, man, I need to write some stuff that can reverberate with people of all ages. So that's kind of where this one came from. This one's called Growing Pains.
Cool. Need me to play Water Bottle in the background for you?
Will you?
Slipped in the sandbox and hit my head. Skinned my knee on the pavement again. Grew up on the wild side. Fell off my chair slides. That's okay. Well, that's just growing pains. That's just growing pains. Went to space in a cardboard box. Fell out between the moon and the couch. Brother broke the lamp, but I took all the blame, and that's okay. Well, that's just growing pains. That's just growing pains. Building forts with my best friends, hanging out in the woods again, and it's watermelon fights on a hot summer day. Memories I'll always keep, walking around with our bare feet, and some scars just never fade away, and that's okay. Well, that's just growing pains. That's just growing pains. Oh yeah. Well, that's okay. Well, that's just okay. That's just growing pains. down the steepest hill. Speed wobble just for the thrill. And when I'd crash, oh, I'd pray that I hit grass, and that's okay. Well, that's just growing pains. That's just growing pains. And boy, I'd climb the tallest tree just to find the fear in me. And I'd break a branch, scratch up my hand, and that's okay. Well, that's just growing pains. That's just growing pains. Building forts with my best friends, hanging out in the woods again, in the watermelon fights on a hot summer day. Memories I'll always keep, walking around without bare feet. Some skies just never fade away, and that's okay. That's just growing pains. That's just growing pains. And that's okay. Well, that's just okay. Well, that's just growing pains.
Man, it's so uplifting and inspiring to hear it and to be so close and watch you play it.
Thank you.
Man, thank you. So, you were inspired from the growing pains, from the open mics that you were hosting. I know you have a song about Bigfoot. So, what are some of the weirdest inspiration outlets that you found, or like, what are some of the weirdest songs, or where have you found inspiration in some not so popular places? Or
Oh, dude, I got a couple good ones. I mean, there's a story about the Falcon monster, and then just kind of tying that to also like one of my cousins that I'm pretty proud of.
that's why you say the Falcon Monster is your cousin.
Yeah. So I just kind of tied them together
Yeah.
because I was like, man, he's a pretty good guy. I was like, good guys deserve to be celebrated. So
Mhm.
he always not only worried about his own, but also others too. So pretty good dude.
That song is called
Uh,
Dear John, or
Big John.
Big John.
Yeah, Big John.
Okay.
And some other weird ones though, like wanted to try and make music that could teach you something, like without you ever realizing it was teaching you something. So I wrote about like the scientific process of like flowers and how they go through photosynthesis and different
Yeah.
things like that. A song about making cheese. Yeah, that's definitely a weird one.
Yeah.
Like if you might not realize it at first, but if you actually listen to it, it's teaching you how to make cheese.
That's hilarious.
Man, I'll take anything.
I know you got the one about the honeybee.
Yeah,
That's a beautiful
That's
song.
another one where it's like just about the processes of bees and just kind of just putting yourself in the lifestyle of a bee.
Yeah.
So just kind of looking at the world from their point of view.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's all sorts of weird stuff.
love it.
I'll kind of grab onto any idea, and if I have a little feeling towards it, I was like, I kind of expand it, kind of see where it goes.
Yeah.
Like there's so many songs, like weird stuff that I've written and forgot over the years.
I bet. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Before we go too much further, I have a gift for you. I had ordered you that hat for Universal Vibe, and it came in 2 months late.
Yeah, that's all right. It was never about the hat.
Yeah, I figured, and it didn't turn out as great as I like. It's supposed to say the Poet of Texarkana on the back,
Yeah.
but it does.
Oh,
It's-
dude, it totally does.
It's a little
That's pretty sweet.
personalized for you. And there's also some flower essences in the bag from our sponsor, Mama Gaia's Zen Garden. I'm going to take a moment to give them a shout out because they are funding this episode. They are our only sponsor, our biggest sponsor. Have you ever
Mama
been?
Gaia.
Yeah, thank you, Mama Gaia.
Thank you, Mama
Have you ever
Gaia.
been to Albert Pike?
Yeah, a ton. I've spent many nights up
Yeah,
there.
I love that area. So they own a Zen Garden Retreat Center close to the Cossatot River in
Okay.
Umpire, Arkansas.
Yeah.
So it's just right down the road. You're in the mountains, disconnected. They have 5 acres. They have like a labyrinth, a Japanese rake garden,
Yeah.
bunch of like really Zen stuff. They also do like yoga therapy sessions for people. So it's like therapy and yoga in one, but like tailored to you. And they also have camping. You can camp out there. So there's a couple coupons in your bag for 25% off. And we're going to have some of their discount vouchers at Crystal Moon
Wow.
for anybody that wants to pick any up.
Thank y'all. I
Yeah.
appreciate both of y'all.
Yeah.
Mama
Well,
Gaia.
Thank them. We're also going to be raffling off the 5 flower essences that I just gave Hunter. We're going to set something up at Crystal Moon where there's like a flyer where you can like their page, follow their page, their Facebook, their Instagram, and then leave a positive review wherever you're listening to this podcast. So Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, wherever. Leave us a positive review, like their social media pages, and then you'll get put in to win one of the 5 kits that we're going to be giving away. So I'm just going to read what a flower essence is because I didn't really know.
Yeah.
Flower essences are a form of energetic herbal medicine made by infusing the vibrational imprint of flowers into water. Unlike essential oils or herbal tinctures, they don't work on biochemical level, but instead influence emotions, energy, and subtle body systems. They're often used for emotional healing, spiritual growth, and balancing specific mental or emotional states. Each flower carries a different energetic signature. So I've been using the peppermint essence. It's good for clarity, focus, and mental drive. I've been teaching a lot of yoga, and it's a lot of lift your right hand, shoot your left leg out, and I have to like do all these brain teasers and breathe and teach a class while I'm breathing and talking. And
Yeah.
so I've been using this one's more than halfway gone. I've been using this one multiple times a day. And I also use their soothing pain tonic for my knee, my neck. I've been using that daily as well.
That's pretty
So,
rad, dude.
Check out mamagaiazengarden.com for all kinds of herbal medicines, tailored yoga therapy sessions, and for awesome camping and great people. Oh, man.
Love me some camping, dude.
Oh, man. I love camping. So, you're from Houston originally? Is that where you're like born and
Yeah.
raised?
That's where I grew up. I was actually born in Chicago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How long did you live in Chicago?
Whole 8 months.
Okay.
Whole 8 months. And then after about 8 months, I moved down to Houston area, and then I stayed there till I was like 26.
Wow.
And then from there, moved around a little bit. Came to Texarkana that first time. Went to Louisiana, then West Texas. And then I was like, I kind of like Texarkana, man. So I decided to come back and kind of make this home.
Yeah. So did you do any like camping or deep sea fishing when you were in Houston?
Yes and no. I have been deep sea fishing, but like we went down to I think like South Padre Island,
Okay.
like down in South Texas to do all stuff like that.
Did you ever party out there?
No, no.
I hear.
When I went, I was like younger, but yeah, that's a super popular place for like spring break and stuff like that. But as far as camping, like we used to be part of this thing. It was done up by I think it was the YMCA. They had a group. It was called Indian Guides, and it was kind of like Boy Scouts, but not quite as involved. Like it was basically kids would meet up I think once a month we would just meet up and go camping. It was like
Cool.
kids and their dads just go camping. It was super fun.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I like got my love for camping. And we were in I think elementary school when that was happening. So that definitely sparked it for me. And
Yeah.
from there on, like I've just always I've always loved being outside, like running through the woods and stuff like that. It's always been my jam. Uh, yeah, and ever since that, like right now, I'm just waiting for a couple warmer days,
Yeah.
and camping season's right around the corner, dude.
It's coming. So you go up past Albert Pike recreational area and like primitive camp on the mountain?
Yeah, we will go up to the national forest and just primitive camp.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way we like it. Originally, when we first moved to the area, we would like go find campsites and stuff like that. And then we just realized, hey, dude, you can just drive a little bit further. You're already right at the like footsteps of the mountains or the doorstep. You might as well just go through that door. And we've explored so much. Like, just we'll spend days just pulling into every campsite or any like cleared area we can find, and just kind of get out, walk around, check out what's hidden, because there's like every little campsite has its own little hidden gems and things like that, hidden like right around the corner and stuff like that. So yeah, that's kind of our jam, is just primitive camping up in the national forest.
Yeah, there's nothing like it around here, and it's only hour and a half or two drive from Texarkana.
Yeah.
Is Belinda, your wife, is she from Texarkana?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her mother and her father are both from Texarkana.
Okay.
And the way I met her mother eventually moved down to Houston. That's where I met her, was in Houston. So
Wow.
the first couple years of us together, we were living in Houston, living in the big city.
Cool.
Yeah.
So how did you find out about Albert Pike?
She actually used to go when they were kids.
Okay.
So like
That's what
it was
kinda
one of
figured
those
she
things
might have
like
known.
her family, her family is very outdoorsy people. Very outdoorsy. Way into hunting and fishing and stuff like that. And they love camping too. Like they're already it's like
They're ready.
It was like 20 something degrees this morning, and they were already just a couple days ago talking about like, oh, we're ready to go camping.
Yeah.
So yeah, but they kind of put me onto that area, and then just honestly, dude, I'm a total map nerd.
Yeah.
I'll spend so much time on maps, like
Zooming in and looking at things,
looking at different like geological features and stuff like that, and just like I'll switch between different types of maps and just kind of get different information that way. So like I'll find spots that I think look cool, like geologically, whatever, and just kind of find a place near that and just like explore things that way. Like when I was a little kid, we used to take trips to go visit my brother who lived in Austin, and my father, he would throw the map in my lap, and he'd be like, you're gonna have to follow along with your finger, and if you don't get us there, we're gonna get lost. And like I didn't know that he already knew all the roads. It didn't matter to him, but he wanted to make sure I had that same sense of direction. So like just from a little kid, I was always just super fascinated with maps and just.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
He was training you, like
Yeah. So now it's just like when I think of a place, I can just see it on a map.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a strange thing.
That's awesome. So what's the next song you have for us? We got about 17 more minutes.
Yeah, dude. We totally got time. This next one kind of ties back to something you were talking about earlier, coping mechanisms and things like that. So I tried to think of things that I do that help me cope and might be able to help other people cope, and kind of encourage folks to find healthier ways to cope with what they're going through. This one in particular, it's kind of just like about driving and taking back roads and stuff like that. Just getting away and hopping in the car and going, man. Yeah, it's called Cope.
Well, I drive just to get away. No, I'm not going to any particular place. A country road, well, that feels just like gold. And if I hit gravel, it might as well be made of gold. Behind this wheel, sending two, but I'm more like midnight and noon, and that's how I get a grip. When my world begins to slip, oh, I'm no king of the road. I drive to imbalance, wise and bold, and that stranger in a car is just a friend that I don't know. Behind this wheel, I don't feel anything but real. Behind this wheel, I don't feel anything but real.
This quick little one there.
That's awesome. What are your favorite back roads around Texarkana, Bowie County?
Dude, I love going out towards the river, like hitting the shuffle. That's one.
Yeah.
Or heading out towards like Garland and hitting some of the gravel roads that go past some of the old oxbow lakes and stuff like that. The nice thing about Texarkana is you don't have to go far to hit country. I mean,
Yeah.
it's 10, 15 minutes and you can find a pretty road that's sparsely traveled.
You can go in any direction.
Yeah, and that's what I like about it out here. I mean, it's that nice mix of like big town, small city. So, but yeah, just and we'll kind of just pick a direction and go. It doesn't matter which way we go, whether it's like going out towards Lake Wright Patman or
Yeah.
going out towards Red River or just wherever, man.
Yeah. I love that coping mechanism or an alternative, healthier version of cope because we all got to cope with the daily stresses of life
Yeah.
every single day.
So, dude, sometimes I just need to step out of that room.
Yeah.
Like whatever I'm feeling, just kind of step out, go outside, and hitting the road just kind of takes me out of that and just super meditative.
Kind of breaks that cycle. You got to just like
Yeah.
change it up, start moving, playing guitar, running, just walking, just like
Yeah.
breaking that cycle of that inner dialogue in our heads.
Yeah. Well,
And driving kind of like it's meditative, but you're focused on driving.
Yeah.
So it's
You
like
you have a task to do, something to
Uh-huh.
focus on. At the same time, it's pretty laid back. It's something we do every day. Don't even
Yeah.
think about doing it. So to like kind of take something that is super accessible to me and just kind of run with it that way.
Yeah, I love that. What would be your dream festival or event to play?
Man, honestly, kind of like things in the thought process of creating things and creating that space.
Mm.
So like a big idea I've been having lately is trying to pull music out of the bars. I mean that it's not the only place, but the majority of music you hear around town, you're gonna end up in a bar if you want to go hear it.
100%
And
of the time, pretty much.
yeah, like and I can't say anything bad about it, or I don't want to say anything bad about it. 'Cause, I mean, that's a lot of places where I cut my teeth. I mean, that's where I got a lot of my playing done, and where I still do things from time to time. But to finding things that could be a little more like inclusive, family friendly, like pulling something that can happen in the middle of the day as opposed to, hey, you got to wait till after dark if you want to go listen to music.
Yeah, it's bedtime by the
Like,
time you're going on.
Yeah, for real. So like I've just got a couple different ideas brewing about how to achieve that, and it's I got stuff in the works.
Are there
So,
any avenues as of now where artists can come and play that aren't 21 and up or in the bar restaurant scenes that you can think of?
I mean, once you add restaurants to that, no, not.
Well,
It's-
I
I
mean,
mean-
maybe middle of the day, daytime restaurant.
There's a
gig.
couple places that are inclusive just by nature, just because of what they are. Like Hopkins Ice House has always been great because it's all ages. It is a restaurant.
Mhm.
Also like after a certain point at night, I mean it's still a restaurant, but it kind of feels more of that sparsing gap to a degree. I mean, it's not like it's the most wild place, but
Yeah.
still. Um, uh, dude, there's a couple things here and there, I guess, but it's all like you got a couple event halls that do stuff, but it's real sparse,
Yeah.
and it's always like it always seems like they're pulling in someone that has like a niche,
Mm.
like it's very specifically for this sort of audience or something like that. It's not just geared for like to get families out and go experience music.
The only thing I could think of would be the downtown live events that they have
Yeah.
where like pretty much anybody can come and busk and play on
Yeah.
the sidewalk.
Yeah, and I've definitely taken part of that quite a few times.
Yeah.
Which is pretty neat. I mean, but again, it's one of those things that kind of starts a little later in the
Yeah, it's
day
like
and stuff
6 to
like that.
9 and
Yeah,
it's always a hit and miss, like I want to see it do well and it could, but I've went to some that were like
Yeah.
really cool and then I've vended and been a part of some that
it's kind of
had like
vacant.
20 people
Yeah,
walk around,
That's Texarkana.
The
It's-
traffic always starts to come more towards the evening and people are drinking. And
Yeah,
then they're walking around. And
it's. I mean, dude, it's the way people show out. It's a lot like the weather.
yeah.
I mean, it's just kind of hit and miss, man.
What advice would you have to maybe a new up and coming young musician or artist trying to gain some traction in the local music scene?
Uh, just do it, man. You can reach out to people that are already playing. I know quite a few of the people that play around town, and most of them are pretty nice people. They're willing to have a little conversation with you and tell you like where you can get started or something like that, or what they think would be a decent fit for you. Uh, Honestly, I would say just try and get after it and just start doing it. I'd like, don't worry about being the best. Don't worry about creating something that's just absolutely flawless or perfect. Just you'll find that in time. Like it'll just once you just start doing it, you'll eventually work up to that and things will get better through time. It's just if you stick at something, you're just gonna keep getting better at it. So I mean, I guess the biggest thing I'd say just do it, man.
Yeah.
And as far as like trying to find places to get a foot in the door, it's kind of hard right now. I guess if you can just kind of work up a set and stuff like that. I mean, things like Downtown Live is not a bad idea to get some experience playing in front of people. Busking downtown, especially if you know there's going to be an event, whether it's like a Mardi Gras parade or like other events going on
Destination downtown.
Yeah.
All the
I mean,
downtown
when you
things.
know there's going to be some traffic downtown, go try and busk then. I mean, you could make $1, but also have pretty decent crowds walking by, a pretty good number of people. That'd probably be your best bet as far as getting out there. But honestly, just do it.
Yeah.
Like, just do it. Don't worry about being the best. Just do it.
Yeah. That's great advice. That's kind of what Anthony, the guy that runs the podcast studio, said. He said, you just got to start. You just got to start somewhere,
Yeah.
and I've same thing with so many different things. Sometimes you got to be a disaster before you're a master, and like you learn and you learn and you learn, and that's with jobs, careers, all the in between.
Yeah, definitely.
So we got time for one more. I'm
Yeah.
really excited for this last one. You want to tell us
Yeah.
about it?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, man, I guess I'm fortunate. Writing comes pretty easily to me. So I like to write things just for specific moments and times, events, like this podcast, for example. So I decided to write a song about Taboo, since that's like kind of your jam.
Yeah.
So I just tried to think about Taboo, what it means to me, and how I implement it in my life to try and find direction, so to speak. So yeah, this next song is called Taboo. Oh, and I guess I will add, I know during the last UV you were playing a ton of Sat song. That's definitely put a lot of inspiration into this one.
Hard conversations in the mirror. You are beautiful and kind. You deserve the very best. You're justified to try. Reaffirm who I am, what I can do, where I can. How can I help when you're around? Love is my reason why. Look back on the lessons I learned. Flip around, move forward. You and I, on who we've been, no need to pretend. Now I call it taboo. The bad things I've done, some for gain, some for fun. Taboo. The bad things I said should have stayed in my head. Now it's taboo. No, I won't go there. Not in anger, not in fear. Taboo. Can't even speak of it. Taboo. Now that's taboo. I say life is a garden. Do believe I'm still growing. See my thorns, I have a few, but it's the flowers that bloom. In my heart is the will of fire. I got a strength that's gonna burn brighter. Motivated by the thrill to be kinder. Oh, I invited change but lost my patience. It stayed the same while I was waiting. Had to make my first move. I tell you what I did do. I call it taboo. The bad things I've done, some for gain, some for fun. Taboo. The bad things I said should have stayed in my head. Now that's taboo. No, I won't go there. Not in anger, not in fear. Taboo. Can't even speak of it. Taboo. Now that's taboo.
Dude, that was so cool. It was such a vibe. I wanted to like move and dance to it. I thought you said sad songs, but now I see you said sat sung. Like the musician? Yeah, because it was totally I see the inspiration now. I was like, oh, okay. That makes sense. Yeah, shout out to Cassie. She put together the playlist this year for Universal Vibe 2024.
Yeah, that rocked pretty hard.
And we're time to wrap it up. Do you have any upcoming gigs, any upcoming shows?
No, right now we're just trying to build new projects, really, man. I'm taking a little break to just kind of rebuild ourselves and come out with something new, something fresh, and try and come out stronger.
Cool. Well, you are my number one favorite musician in town. You're always welcome at Universal Vibe. Cassie and I have kind of talked about you potentially playing at our wedding reception thing.
Oh, wow.
An unofficial booking here happening now. But I love you, man. Where can people find you?
Dude, definitely find me on Facebook. That's at Poet of Texarkana. I post everything, whether it's man versus chorus or anything else. It all kind of hits Poet of Texarkana too.
Cool.
So that's a good way to find us.
Cool. Well, thanks for joining the show, man.
Much love, brother.
Yeah, brother. Take care.